All right, so I want to quickly touch on this Israel-Iran situation. Now, very quickly, I've always said that let's not jump to conclusions just yet. All the facts, all the events, whatever is being reported, we have to take a step back and let it come out and we can evaluate that. But for now, everybody that's reacting negatively, I have to tell you that you've got to stop this because this is not a time for fear-mongering and for us to think that the doomsday end apocalypse is near, but rather many of us have been suggesting and saying that it has to get a little bit worse before it gets better. And if you are on the train of understanding that this is a movie in a sense that there's actors, there's people that have to sort of script things and they're all playing a role almost globally to expose a greater evil that is underneath, this is what's happening. So I'm not saying that there is collateral damage, there are people dying, there's a real attack and different things going on. Some of it is amplified and projected to make it look different than what it really is, whether it's complete fabrication with AI and other things, or whether it's conveniently covering certain news items and then suppressing or censoring another part that is not really seen in order to portray a certain message, or if you want to go as far as propaganda, to feed to the Western audience versus the Eastern audience or Russia, China, whatever it is. There's something going on, just like with how Russia and Ukraine was covered, just like with how Israel, Palestine, and COVID and many other topics were covered. And so you have to be aware of that sort of lens on what they're trying to achieve with that messaging. And then behind the scenes, something else might be going on that is covering what really is the facade of a war. So whether it's exposing the deep state and allowing corruption to come forth so you can see the deep-seated double agents, as well as seeing what the allegiance and alliance is, or if it's a cover story for something bigger, like let's make war a thing, but really we're attacking and uncovering something as crazy as biblical antiquity type, architecture or something in Iran versus something in Israel. And we don't know, maybe underground tunnels and crazy conspiracies. Or it's really a war that's going on, but behind it are invisible hands and forces. Or, again, I'm just throwing things out there. Or it could just be completely made up and manufactured. Not made up in the sense that it's fake, but it's being amplified artificially such that it seems like World War III, but it's not going to get there. But it's to wake people up. It's to get people to jump on this, hey, aren't you awake to social justice and who's really evil and who's really good? And if it's exposing the three-letter agencies and this whole Western, invisible hand thing and elitist, globalist, whatever that is, whatever that plan is, all of that might be fair play into what's going on. So all I'm saying is that what the news is saying and covering, number one, be very careful how you receive it. It may be fake. It could be overly exaggerated. It could have distorted facts. There could be something that's different from what's being actually reported, even if it's by government. And number two, as we take a step back and evaluate this, number two, it could be a cover for something else. Because again, I've said any news you can take it at face value, or you can see that there's layers behind it. And whatever that is, we'll eventually find out and let time pass and do the research and all that stuff. But third, this is also part of a big operation, a coordinated operation, a great awakening, something that sounds crazy, total conspiracy, but because people like Q and others have said that this is a movie, you're seeing actors play a certain role and it's being amplified. Yes, there is collateral damage. Yes, there is real deaths, but at the expense of trying to get everybody on the same page about removing some global crazy thing in the name of security, world peace, or some future state that is going to be better than what we are right now. And so if you trust, quote unquote, the plan, that's what it may be from that perspective, or it could just be what may be taken at face value that you have Israel versus Iran and versus other people. But with the looks of it, they're responding one-to-one, right? So Israel is responding to something, Iran is responding to something, and they've even said that if you cross this line, we'll have to retaliate. And so this escalation can stop at any point. It's not like somebody wants to nuke another country off the face of the earth, and maybe secretly there is that sort of feeling, but because we have so much geopolitical tension and invisible hands, that may not happen. But at this moment, we're seeing it ramp up so that it could make people wake up, have them sort of in fear artificially. But really, what we know behind the scenes is that, number one, God has it, it's fine. And number two, that it's part of a operation, a movie of sorts. So whatever that is, let it happen, because there's a deep cleansing, a deep cleaning of sorts happening. Same happened with Ukraine, with the biolabs and the underground human, whatever money laundering type scenario, as well as with whatever happened with Israel Palestine and all of that. So same is happening with the Iran stuff. So we've said before that something has to happen with some of the Middle East countries because they're cleaning it out. Same thing happened with Saudi Arabia during Trump's term and Mohammed bin Salman and all these other guys. So something is happening. We don't know what the full story is, but they may have to do a cover story to the general public, the world stage, in order to satisfy that perspective, and then behind the scenes, something else is happening. So I'm not asserting that that's what it is. I'm just putting all the options on the table. This is my first reaction video to it, but do not be scared. If anything, the Christian godly message here is that when you hear of wars, rumors of wars, do not be concerned. Do not be anxious about it. Do not respond thinking that, oh my goodness, but rather, yes, you should prepare. Yes, you should take good safety measures and make wise decisions for your family, for yourself. But at the same time, do not be concerned and anxious about it. God is sovereign over everything. God will allow kings to rise up and to be torn down. God will allow peace. He will allow the fighting if necessary, and just because sin is running rampant in the world. But the point here is that you should not be concerned. Your heart posture, your condition before the Lord should not be one of crazy, jittery anxiety and fear, because fear is not what you should be driven by during this time. So be encouraged, guys. This is a good time. Stay prayed up. Do not be alarmed. Do not be concerned. God has this, and there's more than meets the eye, is my point. So let's see what happens. More is coming. Love you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.